Hello and welcome, bjthebrave here, and welcome to my review of Ghazghkull and indeed the Orc faction after playing 100 games with them. Now, I've actually played a lot more than 100 games with the Orcs, but what I have focused on this season, and specifically for this video, is playing 50 games with one version of Ghazghkull and 50 games with another version. And the idea is that all 100 of these games are on ladder. They were all played in the top 50. Many of them in the top sort of 30 or top 20 even, and they were all against human opponents. So all of my wins against bots are completely taken out of these stats. And yeah, I'm really excited to bring this to you. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview as to kind of like how I started this season and where my journey with Orcs has taken me. And that's going to then dive into these two main deck lists that I did the 50 games each with. So we're going to have a little look at the deck lists, and we're going to talk about kind of like what why they are in there, and kind of like the card composition, obviously what works, what doesn't. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you my actual stats. So I've tracked everything on an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to show you the exact breakdown of my win-loss ratio, faction by faction. You can see what factions did well against them, and we're going to have a look at that and see if there are any differences as well between the two different deck lists as well in the stat analysis. And then right at the end, I've actually captured some gameplay with both of the deck lists, so you can kind of jump in and watch a little bit of gameplay as well as to how the decks worked. So let's jump into Orcs this season. So I started out the season being a big Orc fan. I knew last season that they were one of my favourite factions. Even though they weren't brilliant last season, they were pretty good. They were sort of middling. And when I started this season, I pretty much picked up with what I call Ripper Control. So Rockard, if you look on my deck list, it's my Rockard version. So this deck, I still believe now, is fantastic. If you wanted to run this right now, you could happily climb ladder with this. It's a superb deck. I was on a really high win streak with it early in the season, and the only thing I really added was a squig buggy just because I wanted to try them. But the only thing was I got bored of it a bit quick, only because I felt like all the changes had happened with the balance patch, and did I really want to just run last season's deck? So I kind of moved on, and I played a range of Ghazghkull decks. And when I say a range, I mean I tried really heavy mech. I played the Gorkanaut, the 9-drops. I played, like a whole kind of like a really super aggro. I tried a real mixture of stuff, sort of mid-range builds. And in the end, I kind of settled on two deck lists, which are the ones that we're going to break down now. So, the two deck lists that we're looking at, which is my O-Gaz-Mek deck and the Cube Smash, they're the two we're going to look at. Now, the first thing to say is you're going to notice straight away in both of them that I don't run the Green Horde. Now, one of the decks that I was experimenting with did include the Green Horde, and what I personally found, and I still don't know whether this is right or, so take it for just purely from my perspective on this, guys. What I found is that I didn't like the Green Horde in Ghazghkull, and the reason I didn't like it is that you have no way of drawing cards. So obviously, if you end up having a Green Horde in Ghazghkull, it's as powerful as it's ever been. In fact, it's probably more powerful because you get all the benefits of Ghazghkull on top of it. So it's superb and game winning when you get it off. But if you're talking about climbing ladder, you need to be thinking about what happens over hundreds of games. And I just found that it was less consistent, and that often I'd be sitting there with the Green Horde in my hand and actually no units to play it with, or the other way around. I'd have the units and I didn't have the Green Horde, and I just felt it was clunky, it was inconsistent, and so I didn't include it. That said, if you did want to run a Ghazghkull with a Green Horde version, then something like this version here, which is what the Black Prince is playing and doing really well with it on ladder, I think this is probably the better way to go with it. And what I love about the Black Prince's version in particular is that he runs two Mega Nob Ugraks. Now, Ugrak comes with Blast 2, which is obviously good against Orcs because of the blast and killing out the grots and things like that. But the main thing I love about this is that the Ugrak obviously allows you to fill your hand with Slugger Boys. And as I just said, the biggest downside in a Ghazghkull deck is that you can get the Green Horde, but it's not. You've got no way of drawing into your troops. Well, that's your way of getting the troops that you need to go off with a green horde. So I kind of really like his version. I haven't played many games with this, only about 3 or 4, and it feels pretty good. I definitely would say, if you want to run the green horde, that I think this is the kind of way to go. Okay, so that said, let's look at the 2 versions that I played. So the first version I'm going to show you is the Cube Smash, and I called it that because I got it from the idea from Cube Captain, who I really think is a really good orc player, and someone I bat a lot of ideas, orc ideas back and forth with. And so, shout out to Cube. And this version was kind of based on conversations with him. So in this version, what we're really looking to do is really go after the win quite quickly, quite early as well. So we're smashing face with Ghazghkull, and what you find in this is it actually has quite minimal mech synergy. We do run the spanners, and that's mainly because we go with a burner boy combo with the spanners, and it does have a few vehicles that it could kind of synergize with the spanner, but not many really. We've literally got the Warbiker and one squig buggy. So in this version, we've got Makari, of course. We've got the Gretchen mobs. Notice that we've cut all of the 2-drops, the standard 2-drops that you used to see in all the orc decks, the Slugger Boys, the Storm Boys. They're not here. What we do get is the Proper Killies, and Proper Killie is superb in both of these versions. It's a huge win con for us. You can obviously combine it with Makari to make sure to give us a reach of 10 from hand. And obviously, if we want to play the Warbiker with Proper Killie, then we potentially have a range of 16. Because we can obviously hero power to get the biker up as well as the buff from the Makari. So you often win with this deck on a combo that lands somewhere between 8 and 16. And so, quite a good thing to know if you're playing against Ghazghkull as well, that's when you're in the kind of danger zone. We run the Pyromanics Legendary Blast 2. So again, this card is just phenomenal. It's great at clearing out the stealth units from Tyranids. It's great for playing against orcs and clearing out when you're kind of trying to gain an advantage. Obviously, with like the Grots, then the Blast for cheap is really, really powerful. It's also a good way of sometimes getting reach and finishing off your enemy Warlord when they've played like a Vanguard, for example, next to it. You attack the Vanguard and the Blast does damage to the face. We run Shooter Boys in here. Remember I said there's not much mech in here, so the Shooter Boys give us a good early drop that can really take advantage of Ghazghkull's War Boss talent, right? The 2 Grots coming out, or 4 Grots, depending on if we're going first or second. That really helps us to put a lot of pressure on with the Shooter Boy. Obviously, the Spanner is mainly here to combo with the Burner Boy. It's actually more of a late game card in this, but we can do things like comboing with the Warbiker. One of the things you can do is if you take the defense stratagem, which gives a discount of 2 to a vehicle, and you have these 2 in hand, you can drop the Warbiker for essentially 1 energy. So as early as turn 4, you can play the Spanner with the Warbiker, and sometimes you've got some Grots left from it early game, and you can create like a huge Warbiker that gets out of control. So that's one potential strategy in here. And we run the Banner Knobs. So the big thing I would kind of like point to in this deck is like, the Shooter Boy and the Banner Knob. It's that idea of like buffing the early advantage that we get from Ghazghkull, and it just works phenomenally. Also, Banner Knob is yet another way that we can finish the game, because obviously when we talk about Proper Killie, when we talk about Warbikers, we've not only got Makari, but we've now got 2 Banner Knobs that can buff as well. So a really, really synergistic card with this type of deck. Obviously, no mucking about, needs no introduction really. One of the best hard removals in the game. The Orc Knob in this deck is really more just as an excellent 4-drop. He's just a great body with flank, and it's very rare that we're actually pulling off. There's no cheesy combos here. There's no Green Horde, so we're not doing the cheesy Makari combo. It's purely just a really good 4-drop flanker. Scorched Assault, again, allowing us to kind of keep advantage with that board. And like, say you've got a couple of Grots down, and then you Scorcher Assault. Well, even if the Scorcher Assault doesn't kill the units, it probably damages like decent bodied units enough that Grots can finish them off. So Scorcher Assault works really, really well. Now, the thing I really wasn't sure about when I started playing this deck is the 2 Unbridled Carnages. I would say that this card is in many ways the most clunky card in this deck to play. You know, we don't run grots. We do have the Gretchin mob, and obviously we have Ghazghkull that can produce grots. And so sometimes the timing of the Unbridled Carnage is not always kind of clear. And sometimes I do it with just 3 bodies on the board, and sometimes it's more late game. But actually, this card was pretty clutch in many games. And again, it can help you deal with stealth units. The amount of times I killed like a striking scorpions or warp spiders or, you know, lictors and just, you know, things like that with it. So it's and it's a really, really powerful card. Like sometimes play early and get 8 damage onto face early can really put the pressure on your opponent. So Unbridled Carnage really helps us accelerate the speed of this deck, the aggro of it, if you like, with things like the shooter boys and the banner knobs. All this just puts damage on the enemy so that we can get to this finisher that we talked about, this kind of 8 to 16 range finisher. So the surprising thing maybe in this deck, in this particular version, is we don't run the 5-drop Stacker wagons, and we only run 1 Squig Buggy. I mean, the Squig Buddies on paper seemed insane after the balance patch. I actually find it to be a little bit underwhelming. I think it's a good card, definitely, but I don't think it's the completely broken card that I thought it was going to be. And mainly, the main reason for that is unstable, right? Not just unstable on the Squig Buggy, but unstable on the Bomb Squig. So they end up, basically, you treat these more like a removal, and then they kind of essentially kill themselves. But the good thing in this deck is actually just the extra damage to face that the Bomb Squig does. So it feels like every card that we've got here can do more damage to face. So it's a real pressure deck. We do keep the Veteran Storm Boys. And again, you might look at that and go, well, that's weird. Why would you play them? And you could definitely swap these out, like one of these out for another Squig Buggy, if you wanted. But I just actually think that the Veteran Storm Boy, I think people have forgotten about this guy. Like he's so goddamn good. Even without the Storm Boy synergy, he is such a solid 6-drop. So we run 2 of those, and then we run the Ard Shell, because again in this meta the Ard Shell is pretty good. The biggest issue is against orks, actually. You know, obviously orks can time him out with Will of Gork or. Although that's 7 for 7, so that's not too bad if he will have Gorks, but it's more the knocking about that we worry about there. But otherwise, you know, like Eldar, for example, Ard Shells can't game winning there, so I kept him in. Double Will of Gork and Rock Invasion. So this is the first deck that we ran, and we're going to have a little look at some of the stats in a second. But let me show you, as I say, I ran 50 games with the Cube Smash version, and then I also ran 50 games with the O-Gaz-Mek version. Now, the biggest difference here is if you study these 2 decks closely, they're very, very similar in terms of curve, but what we've done is we've swapped out the shooter boys, we've swapped out the unbridles, we've swapped out the banner knob, although I have got 1 banner knob in here. And what we've done is we've added a little bit of the mech synergy. Obviously in the balance patch the spanner got much better. We were running the spanners anyway, so what we've tried to do is just take a little bit more advantage of that. So instead of the shooter boy, you'll see we've got a grot tank. We've also added a cloud of smoke in there because we do have more vehicles. And this card, by the way, is superb. I really think one is really good to avoid your hand being clunky, but I found that once I put this down to 1, in this version in particular, I mean, it just always got me insane value. It just felt like playing Ultramarines last season, to be honest. So we've got enough vehicles to warrant 1 cloud of smoke. So we've got the Grot tank, we've got the Death Copter in there, we've got the double Snaz wagons in there. And so then we put Mech Boy in, because Mech Boy's brilliant if there's vehicles, right? It's a solid 5 body, and he's got synergy to make them cheaper. And we run double Squig Buggy. So that's really the main difference. Everything else is the same as the deck that we just showed you. So we're kind of taking out some of those aggro synergizing cards for what you might call like better mid-rangey bodies in the vehicle synergy, extra flanking capability with the Snaz wagons, and extra kind of could possibly go off and go nuts synergy from the spanner, right? So we've got a little bit more of that in this deck. So they are the kind of 2 decks that we ran with. One of the biggest things you need to kind of know about this, about either of these decks really, is just on the topic of Ghazghkull. Now, the thing about Ghazghkull at the minute is he's pretty insane because his Warlord ability is just a bit too much. It's just overwhelming. His ability to kind of basically play out every single turn 2 units, which is a total of 4 health across 2 bodies. So that is something that no enemy war boss can deal with on its own. And that's fundamentally why Ghazghkull is superior at the minute, because if both players only played their Warlord talents, Ghazghkull would beat everyone, right? Because his ability overwhelms everybody else's. Everybody else's need something else in addition to their Warlord talent to be able to deal with that board. And if you've got Makari, it's even crazier because your enemy can just wipe the board and immediately you can just play 3 units out. And so you're not losing card advantage either by doing that because it's my Warlord talent and Makari keeps on coming back. So the ability to play out that kind of Makari and 2 Grukk board state is fundamentally what you want to be kind of rinsing and taking advantage of, because that's what gives you an advantage over any other faction. Okay, so let's take a quick look then at how we got on with these 2 decks. So, as you can see, these are my 100 games. I'm actually going to just move me over here a minute because I'm just conscious that I'm kind of a little bit in the way. So, as you can see, we have 100 games here with orcs, and you can see that in total we got 74 wins and 26 losses, so we got a 74% win rate. Now that broke down as the Cube Smash version. I ran 50 games, we got 38 wins and 12 losses, getting a 76%. So the Cube Smash version did get a slightly higher win rate. The O-Gaz-Mek got a 72%, so 76 versus 72%. That was 50 games, 36 wins, and 14 losses. So overall, actually, very, very, very close. 12 losses versus 14 losses in 50 games. It's you're splitting hairs, really. Pretty even. And actually, even when you start to look at the deck breakdown, so overall, we can see that we got over a 50% win rate against just about every other Warlord that we faced. This is the total. So we can actually see that, Kalgar, obviously our enemy Ghazghkulls, and the Eldar, the Galens in particular, were probably some of the bigger challengers. If we look at the breakdown, you can actually see, for example, that the Cube Smash version, 55% against Galen, whereas the O-Gaz-Mek does a little bit better. And I think that's because the Eldar do quite well with lots of little units. They're quite easy to deal with for the Eldar. They struggle a little bit more with the kind of high health or armored units and stuff. So yeah, the O-Gaz-Mek version did a little bit better against Eldar than Cube Smash. But other than that, come back to the totals, actually it's kind of pretty even. Also interesting to note, what is the meta? What did we play? Well, we can see that there were still 8 Marine games in that 100 games, but massively outshadowed by Ghazghkull. Funnily enough, Galen, I think, is the number 1. We faced more Galen than any other single Warlord. And, I still think orcs, we've probably faced more orcs than anything else, right? Because we got 7 Grukks in there. But as an individual Warlord, we faced more Galen than anything. And actually, Abaddon was surprisingly propping up kind of 3rd position. Very, an awful lot of Abaddons we played, and a few of the other Warlords in Chaos as well. So they were the big 3, Ghazghkull, Galen, and Abaddon, that we generally faced. But overall, guys, a 76%, 74%, as I say, it was 76 for the Cube Smash and 72 for the O-Gaz-Mek. But overall, the breakdowns were positive, all over 50%, and quite similar. Just a slight difference really on the Eldar, the only thing that's kind of pretty noticeable and worth mentioning. So there you got it, guys. So these were my orc decks. Now, are they the best Ghazghkull decks? I don't know. One of the things that's kind of fascinating about, I think, this season is that even though it's clear orcs are the meta, it isn't clear that there isn't any one deck that's emerged as kind of the superior deck. And I've just shown you two versions. I've got hard data to show you, 100 games, top 50 ladder. So hopefully you found that helpful. What we're going to do now is I'm just going to play you some games so you can actually see some games with both versions so you can kind of see how I was playing them and how they worked. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. We're going to be doing a ton more content for you out throughout January, and I really appreciate all your support. So let's dive into some games. Okay, so he's played out the grots. We're going to obviously do our 4 grots in response. And kill one of his grots. Pretty standard opening. Ghazghkull versus Ghazghkull when you go in second. Let's try and sort this webcam out. Pretty much there. Didn't really want to use the Warlord there because he'd have just been able to reset the board essentially, so we wouldn't have made too much progress. I think he's used all his Gretchen mobs now though. If that had been next turn, we could have done that with a Gretchen mob, and then we could have hero powered to give them all +1 melee attack and killed it with just one Gretchen, and then had 2 guard up, keeping this guy safe. That would have been ideal, but yeah. So we've actually got a lot of damage we can do with Gretchen Mob, Hero Power, and Carnage for 9. Do we want to do it now and put it on face? Or do we want to use the buggy first, threaten with that? I think we want to use the buggy first. So we got this. Then we can set up the Carnage play to his response. And then hopefully we can finish it with Warbiker. Yeah. Potentially got it now. Like we're one off for sure. Like we've got 66% chance that we've got lethal now. Question is, do we play for that? I think we're gonna. I don't think I want to play for it. So he can't attack with his Lord. So he'd have to have Will, Bike, Makari, That would give him a draw. He's got Bike and Macari. Good effort, son. Good effort. Grukk. Dwayne Hart. Definitely want to go face, be the beatdown. Ooh, Pyro could be good here. Do we want to go Pyro? Do we want to go Shooter Boy? Or do we want to go Orc Norb? Or do we want to go Hero Power? Actually tempted to just go Hero Power. Hero Power clears the board, right? Yeah. There were other ways of doing it, but they were all a bit like Russian roulette. Like just, they were just a gamble, and you know it could have come off, but obviously, I feel like that was more like the safest player I made there. Wow. Wow.
could play double shooter boy. Or I could kill these, play knob, play and get with another 2. I feel like double shooter boy's pretty good actually. I think that's like gives me the best board and does the most clears the board and does the most damage. Like does achieves all 3 things better than anything else. I mean, I don't know that I love this. Yeah. I don't love it. The only reason why I didn't want to go is if I go no mucking about and then he plays hard shell on turn 7. What then? Oh god, I wish it was turn 9. This deck's so much better on turn 9 than it is on turn 8. There's like 2 sick combos we could have done on turn 9, right? Like if we had one more energy there, involving pyromanics or environal, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Do I use pyromanics there? I just kind of don't, do I? 3, 5, 9. I think that's correct. I think what we want to do is go dump. Oh no, you fucked up. Oh, you fucked up. I think you've got pyromanics now. Oh, this is so annoying. I totally balls this up. No, I messed that up. Because obviously, I was thinking I was going to hero power and then unbridled, but obviously you can't do the hero power and get the 2 grots after you've dropped that. And thank God we saved. No mucking about. For Ardshall. Well played, sir. Well played. Kaboom! GG. That was a good game. Okay, Imotekh. Imotekh. Usually we get underneath Imotekh, right, with this deck, this version. The Jackal. The Jackal of all trades. So we're 48 games deep. This is game 49. Trying to test 50 games with this version. So this is game 49 in ranked on ladder against humans. If I added bots in, I'd be a lot higher. Played a lot of bots. But this is 50 games against humans that we're talking about. Now he could use the stratagem to make Sky the Salt cheaper. No? Okay. So now we just Warlord Talent and drop Makari. Yeah, slight misplay. I probably should have played Makari. If we were just thinking about like controlling the board and valuing, then obviously we wouldn't attack there, but it leaves us open to Sky the Salt, so Squeak. Don't Squeak Boogie or Veteran Sergeant. Yeah, Squeak Boogie, I think. Something tells me this guy's got Tomb World in hand. He's sort of playing like he's got Tomb World in hand. This thing dies every single time, I swear. It's such a heap of junk, quite literally. 367, right? So we go dum, dum, and then dum. Ah, needed health. Oh, we gotta do it now. It's a damn shame. If we'd have got some health off there, that would have been lovely. Got to kill Spanner, hasn't he? Otherwise Burner Boy does his thing. Well, that'll kill Spanner, but Veteran Stormboy will eat that alive, which is cool. Trying to make good use of his hero power. I don't know whether I should have actually just, instead of playing Makari, I mean he would have been on 7 health. I wonder whether I should have just actually got the Grots out there. Didn't actually need the buff on him. Just sacrificed 1 damage. But we would have had the bots on board, the Grots on board. Not the bot, the Grots, not the bots. So if we get an average Scorched Assault, well no, he's probably going to heal up to 7 anyway, isn't he? How does he deal with that now then? Is he just methodical and here and ping? And hope I haven't got proper doodah? Don't think he's got methodical then, because that would have killed, the blast would have killed that. Ah, really? What's he doing? That would have killed. Why did he do that? Why did he do that? That was weird. I don't get it. I do not get it, sir. Kaboom! Another one bites the dust. Game 49 down. Okay, game 50 against Tigerius. Astartes. Dig in. Reload the Grots. Is this the Rhino Acceptor? So the issue is we can't really use no mucking about on this. Because we have to say that things like dreadnoughts now, don't we? So we might actually have to go. We could warbite. We could scorch assault. What if he only gets 2 though? If he only gets 2, might gets 2. Yeah, we lose to that, right? We could just warbiker. I really want to save the warbiker. Okay, I think we're going to get a little bit greedy here. Okay, we got lucky. Well, a little bit lucky. There was a 33% chance that we got unlucky. There was a 66% chance that we got lucky. So, does that count as luck? We were meant to be lucky. Now we're into turn 6. We're into things like we're into our flankers territory. So again, we don't need to use mucking about. So the big thing with the Squig Buggy in this version is the extra 2 damage on face and 2 to 3. Oh my gosh. And obviously the removal of the flank. We don't expect it to survive. The fact that it's survived here is like a bonus, especially because we took out something with 5 hitting us back for 5. Is he smiting? Oh man. Wow. Okay, buddy. Okay, so has he played the thing that makes the vehicles cheaper? And has he played his defense stratagem where you can make a unit cheaper? These are things you should be keeping track of against Marines, and I haven't been. Okay, so this is the turn 7 combo, isn't it? Yep. Oh, he didn't give me the health again. Dreadnought? No. Humanity Shield. It's a great card, buddy, but it ain't gonna save you. So we'll just set it up, and we've still got the hard removal if he goes big, and we've got the unbridled to kind of go wide and get the reach. So we should be good here. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we should be good here. Oh, wait a minute. Not stun. Oh no. Oh boy. Okay. Do we unbridled there? We could do double unbridled here for 12 damage. Or we could kill that. And then we get 3, 5. Yeah, we could do a fancy thing, but I don't think we're going to bother. And that is game 50. He made that close. Closer than it looked like it was going to be. Okay, so we drop Ghazghkull. Get a discount on one of our vehicles, the Deathcopters. Nice. We could actually drop double Deathcopter for 2 now, which is definitely a play. I'm just kind of waiting for a spanner. Oh, nice. Oh, he's never high rolled that, has he? Come on. No, you won't, sir, because we are about to cloud of smoke your ass. Let's see what happens to you then. So I completely misplayed that because I could have essentially just killed it with one copter and put 6 damage on face. So that was wrong. I think there's an execute coming up here, but I might be wrong. Okay, he's hoping for the explosion, right? He's hoping for a full explosion. Come on now, don't be silly. Don't be silly. Thank God. How's that blind working out for you, Mr. Abaddon? Then we're going to drop the guard, I think, and just hit face and pause on that. Kaboom! Showing off the O-Gaz-Mek. Okay, so we're playing playing against Scarabs most likely. So with the 0 mana defense stratagem, it's a lot easier for him to get them out as well. Here they come, boys. Here they come. 0 mana? Yeah. Next one costs 2 less. Full board. still can't clear it. Oh, so annoying, these things. Choppy choppy. So I'm actually tempted. I'm actually tempted to use the, rather than using the orc knob here, I'm actually tempted to use the Warbike, because then next turn we could use knob +2. So it gives us another way of clearing some, wouldn't it? I'm not sure if this is correct or not. Okay, so I think here we trade that in. Rebuild. Not sure about that Warbike play. Even got the little one ping. We've got to remember about this stratagem, right? If we spend one less, we get an extra ping. Okay, he's absolutely got to deal with a knob. Doom Scythe? No. No. So what we can do is we can do this. We can drop this guy and hope that the one extra mana from this ability, from the storm, pings that. Come on. Oh! Yeah. He had it. Do we gawk that, or do we do that, or do we do that next turn? then we would run the risk of like playing into his big combo, right? Yeah. Also, we could rock invasion next turn, so we don't want to be messing about too much. Oh, scarabs, 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 scarabs. Where's my burner? So do I have a way of that dying, do I? Ooh. So what we should do is probably just play this now. Oh, he's nice, he's nice. Okay, we got two of you. What have you got, son? What have you got? Well, he's certainly going to try. Nice. Still got 5 energy to spend. Man, I would love to see a burner boy right now. There's 2 in there. Okay, I think we've won. Yeah. Kaboom! GG, Yanro. Good game.